Everybody, welcome to Ocean's Pit, the little show about big things. Hope you guys are having a great day today. I want to thank you all for tuning in every day, Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon, lunchtime fun. And don't forget, hope you guys are surviving out there. And, folks, everybody's complaining about snow. It's snow. It's going to happen. It's been happening here in January, February for how many years, folks? Everybody's telling you it's snowing. Come on, guys. Hey. Pack up, move to Florida, go to Florida and go to bed by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, go to Arizona, do whatever you have to do. It's snow. Relax, have a good time. Anyway, we have a great show lined up for you guys tonight. First of all, every show is dedicated to the first responders, the doctors, the nurses, of course, the firemen, the policemen, the teachers, and of course, all the farmers out there. But it's basically dedicated to people like you. Check the website, TonyOceanMusic.com. Call us and book a show at 847-769-8609. Remember, folks, every show is brought to you by, don't forget to make sure you look at our good buddy, some Airtight Windows. Airtight Windows Siding Specialist, family owned for the last 30 years for honesty and quality. Do it right with Airtight Windows. Call my buddy Lou at 708-788-5000. You can also go to Twitter, folks. Follow us on the Twitter. Bottom of the screen gives you all the information you need to know. Also, folks, let's not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Ocean's Pit and the Tony Ocean Show. Let's thank another sponsor, of course, Trico Hair Experts. Doing it right with a good friends from Trico out of Rosemont, Illinois. My good friends Anthony and Carmela, recreating great hair days, folks. 773-999-7888. Let's not forget Don Esteban Cigars that you love, hand rolled, delivered, sent right to your home. That's right, Don Esteban Cigars out of Tarpon Springs, Florida. Javier will hand roll those cigars and send them right to you. Special brand. You can get the Tony Ocean kind or any other kind you're looking for. They will make it for you. 727-366-7536. I want to get some of these sponsors out of the way because we have an incredible show for you guys today, and I don't want to interrupt anything. How about Sal from Deutsch Power Center, folks? That's right. Great Lakes servicing construction and diesel industry in the last 100 years. That's Deutsch Power Center, 224-276-6550. Call my buddy Sal there, folks. All right, without any further ado, it's showtime. Let's go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Ocean's Pit, the little show about big things. And now, your host, Mr. Tony Ocean.
Thank you so much, my good buddy Nelson. All right, folks, we got a great show for you guys today. We have guests on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And, of course, Tuesdays is Call-In Tuesday, where you call in me. We just talk about whatever you want to talk about. And then, of course, on Thursdays, my lovely wife, my Laura, my co-host is my lovely wife on Thursday. So I love splitting it on. We've been doing now since 2020, and thank you for the almost 1,500 listeners a day. I appreciate it very much. Carol, how you doing? Jill, Arizona. Yvette, how you doing? Cole, Maryland. We have New Jersey, New York, Las Vegas. We got our good buddy from Santa Barbara, California. Kathy, how you doing? Wisconsin, Ohio, New Jersey. Albert from the Ron Onesti organization, and welcome everybody to Ocean's Pit. Let me tell you, we got two gentlemen here today on the show. One of the gentlemen I've known for many, many years, him and his family. And the other gentleman I don't know that well, but we've met through the years. But they're great guys, folks. My good buddy Chuck Maselli and Carl Giancana. Incredible, great stories that they have. First of all, Chuck is coming out with a brand new book, possible TV series, coming out hopefully at the end of 2022. Dead Witnesses Don't Testify. A fantastic documentary coming out. And they're going to be out telling their story about the book, about the TV series. Also, my good friend Carl Giancana is going to talk a little bit about the documentaries and podcasts and things that come out when it talks about certain family members. And sometimes just trying to get the facts right, So they're very good friends of mine, and I don't want to waste any time. Make sure I'm going to bring them on and let them tell their story for you. Couple quick things, folks. Don't forget, Tony, we got some show dates coming up. Tomorrow we'll be at Zaza's in Lake Barrington. That's a 7 o'clock hit. Friday, Chicago Prime Steakhouse 8 o'clock hit, and Saturday, Tavern on the Point in Edison Park. That's Saturday. Now, coming up next week, let's get these done real fast. We got Taverna on Division special show on Wednesday, February 9th, because I can't give him any weekend shows because I'm all booked up. So on the 10th, we're making our debut at Zazzo's in Westmont. And the 12th will be at Villaggio in Roselle on Lake Street with Jerry Jams, of course, and Tony Toto celebrating his 60th birthday. Thank you for everybody that showed up to the Old Orchard Country Club Sunday for the Oceans Rat Pack show. 165 paid people to see that show, so it's fantastic. And thank you for that. People ask me, when is the next Oceans Rat Pack? Folks, are going to be February 26th at Offsides Grill and Bar, folks, in beautiful Woodstock, Illinois. Dinner and show. That's the 26th of February. And then we have the tour starting, folks, March 11th. March 11th, Venice Community Center. We'll be there. Me and my buddy Greg Reaney, the Windy City Boys, are going to hit Venice, Florida on the 11th. We got a couple other dates in mind also that week, but then we leave also for Mesa and Chandler, Arizona on the 18th and 19th of March for Chicago West Fest, hosted by Jim McMahon, former Chicago Bears quarterback, of course. That's my good buddy Richie Vea putting that together for us. So that's going to be the 18th, 19th in Arizona. Of course, on the 26th of April, we're going back to the Casa Loma Ballroom in St. Louis, folks, over by the hill, one of my favorite places in St. Louis. And then, of course, mark this date down, May 29th, Tony Ocean's 30th anniversary party at the Des Plaines Theater downtown, produced by Ron Onesti and backup orchestra, my good buddy, of course, Nick Sahajas, and the rest of my band from the main event. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's Sunday, May 29th. All right, without any further ado, let's get to it, folks. It's going to be an interesting story, and I'm glad to have him on. First of all, let's bring up my good friend Chuck Maselli and Mr. Carl Giancana. Let's see if we get him on here. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Morning, Tony. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How you doing? Number one, thank you for being on the show, guys. I appreciate it very much. I know you're busy doing your stuff, and boy, interesting stuff we're going to talk about today. Now, Chuck, you started at a young age. First of all, where were you born, Chuck?
I was born in Chicago, grew up on the northwest side of the city, Elmwood Park pretty much, Belmont and Harlem, Grandin, Harlem, Harlem and Addison. I'm from the old neighborhood and came up the old ways, Tony.
I got that, pal. You have a big family, obviously, right?
Pretty big. I've got, my family's been around the area for probably close to 150 years total. I mean, we've got more generations over in St. Joseph's than I care to remember.
Yeah.
And, it's so many things have changed over the last 20 years. I was living out of state for a while, which is, not a secret. I was down in Florida. Mm-hmm. And I came home in 2017. And the culture shock, Tony, was unbelievable about how many things have changed, and the decrease in the respect level and the way things used to be. Carl and I joke about, the old days of walking in Caputo's off Harlem Avenue. And if you didn't walk in and say, hello, Mrs. Caputo, the right way, you got a couple of cracks from maybe 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, right.
Nowadays,
it would be that way the whole block, in certain places you went to. Carl, where were you born, buddy?
I was born in Chicago.
Sure.
1963, and I lived in River Forest.
There you
I'm
go.
from River Forest.
Yeah. I came from Italy to New York, then to Cicero, and then to Elmwood Park. My mother's still in Elmwood Park on Thatcher, 2 houses down from Russell's over there. She still lives in Joey Gagg's old house. So it's a house. It's just a great place that my mother she won't leave Elmwood Park. You guys still live in the areas that you're at? I don't know if you guys are still in Elmwood Park or River Forest, wherever you guys are at. Are you still in the old neighborhood?
Cool.
No, I'm not. I'm in the western suburbs.
Western suburbs, good. All right. Let's talk real fast about the old school ways. But first, before that, in the neighborhood that we used to live in and grown up compared to the days now, in the neighborhoods maybe that you live in now, what's the difference between the two?
Oh my God, night and day, Tony. I mean, this. Back in the day in Elmwood Park, everybody knew everybody, but they didn't worry about everybody's business. But if you needed help, They were there for you like a family. You know, if somebody got sick, if somebody passed away. Now it's you don't even know your neighbors. You know, I live in the southwest suburbs, and I got great neighbors, but you know, it's not like, you know, everybody goes to everybody's house like they used to and play cards and have dinner and stuff. It's like all the old traditions are dying out. It's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. And you know what? I respect guys like you, the still younger generation, that are trying to keep some sort of old school together. You know what I mean? I don't see that anymore either. People not knowing their neighborhoods. You guys remember when we were little, we'd be able to leave or go on vacation. Your neighbor would watch the house. They would make sure you're okay. You know, you sit around, you guys need something. Your mom is not home, or you locked yourself out, whatever, come in the house and wait till mom and dad got home, or whatever it was. It was so different back then.
You could leave your kids out all night. You know, your kids could be out in front till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. You didn't worry about them. Nowadays, broad daylight, you can't leave them out.
You know, Chuck, what do you think, Chuck and Carl? What do you think that came from? The upbringing stopped for the new younger generation when grandmother died, right? What do you think, Carl?
I like the old generation. They protected their own families, and you can walk down the street, and if you did something wrong, your neighbors are allowed to smack you around if you did something wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you think? How do you think the younger generation lost it? Do you think that
they lost it with the media, telephones, iPods, whatever? They lost it. They don't know how to go out and play anymore. Everything is on a video game.
Yeah. I'm surprised that the parks in certain towns are still, I'm surprised the kids still go to parks.
You know, the parks are the best place to go out and hang out. Now they don't have any of that because of half the time the police are out there saying, listen, when it gets dark out, you have to leave the park.
Yeah. Because you never know what's in these parks anymore compared to the old days.
Years ago, you can hang in the parks till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and no one harassed you.
Yeah,
it was fun back then, but of today, can't do any of that stuff anymore. It's not
it's pretty sad, and I don't know. I feel bad for the younger generation. Then when 2020 came, and everything that's going on now with the, you know, you can't say this, you can't say that. Jemima on the bottle, you can't say that. Baby, it's cold outside, you can't sing the song. Frosty and the Snowman, you can't call him that. I mean,
you can't say any of that. Like Uncle Ben's rice, they changed it. And it was for years.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing about that, guys, and I don't want to go off the track too much, but at Jemima, the family, after they took the picture off the bottle, they lost the royalties.
Yep.
So they sued to get the money back, because once they took the picture of their great-great-grandmother off, they weren't making any more money.
No more.
And no money at all. So, you know, it's kind of weird what's going. It's just kind of crazy. Chuck, let's see. Cook County Deputy Sheriff. How was that like?
Well, I was back in the 80s. I wasn't there a very long time. You know, I came back under the old political machine, Tony, you know, where I got my job through politics, and every day it was a struggle. I mean, I was there during the transition years from the great and wonderful Sheriff Elrod into the O'Grady administration, which was an absolute nightmare for anybody that was in politics. I was in politics through the, you know, Harold Washington era, you know, and in the council wars and all that. And it just got to be where every day you had to worry about whether you were going to keep your job. You know, the lines changed. All the old world ways of, you know, you went and did your precinct work, or you went and bought your cocktail tickets and everything was okay. Everything changed in the late 80s, early and throughout the 90s. And it got to a point that no matter, it wasn't even about who you knew anymore. It was about what agenda you prescribed to, you know, how you got treated, where you went, what you did. And it was sad because, you know, my whole family been in politics. My father's side was with the city. My mother's side was with the county. And it just got to a point where even things today, I talk to other people, and I won't mention names here, but, you know, there's a lot of us that feel the same way. The cohesion that even there, that the millennials, I call them, you know, these new age, I'm entitled to everything, you know, kids have come up that I started working at 12. my first job was at Nudi's Bakery on Grand Avenue cutting strawberries. You know, I know Carl started young. It's like nowadays you owe me an education, you owe me a car, you owe me a college education, you owe me a house. Whatever happened to go out and, go work for it, go earn it,
You know what, guys? And I'm going to say something that, and this goes to, I don't want any of our listeners to get offended, but did you think that sometimes some of the stuff that we got, you ever noticed when there's a vowel at the end of your name, there's always somebody out to get you for some odd reason.
Trust me. I
I
personally.
believe that.
Right, Carl? Carl, here's what I don't understand. The Italians at one particular time, before we get into the book and series and talk about the podcast and stuff like that you're talking about, at one particular time, the Italian heritage, food, best clothes, best actors, Las Vegas, best everything. I mean, we had it all, everything. Then we lost it all, granted. But isn't it kind of weird that it seems like, and I don't know how it is in other nationalities, but when you're a group of Italians, like here, perfect example. Carl, you got a car wash, and let's say, Chuck, you own a restaurant. I'm going to go eat by Chuck. I'm going to get my car cleaned over by Carl. You're going to come by me, by my cleaners, and we're all going to take care of each other.
Yep.
Now, if tomorrow on the newspaper said Carlo Giancana $1 million, whatever it was, everybody would be coming. And then they're not happy for them.
No,
they're not.
happy
They're
for us.
miserable.
Yeah, but Carl, why is that? Here, perfect. I'm going to take you to a movie called Donnie Brasco, which we're all familiar with.
Yeah.
well,
The guys walk in. There's a bunch of guys from one part of town, and they look at the other side of another town, a bunch of guys, Italian, in the same business. They go, hey, look at those pricks over there, whatever. That wasn't the right word, but look at those pricks. Let's go over there and say hi. So you come off, go over there, you say hi, you shake each other's hand, and then you can't stand each other. But the jealousy that happens, especially with the Italians, why do you think that is?
The Italians are all family, and most of the times people get jealous about that. They take care of each other, and a lot of times down the road, people get jealous about everything you have.
Yeah, but you know what? The Spanish, the Jewish, the Greeks, a lot of them, they all have that, that camaraderie, that bond.
Clan.
Yeah. You know what? And I just know, I'm proud to be Italian. I speak it. I read it. I write it. I speak to my mother every day in Italian. But some people just I just don't get it. I don't.
We have a bad rap on everything. If you go out of town, I'm Italian. You must be part of the families and all of that stuff. Yeah. That's not right.
Yeah, it's not right. But you know what? You don't think Lithuanians, Jewish, African Americans, they don't have their families? No. You think it's just the Italians?
You know what, Tony? And I'm going to clarify this. I'm Sicilian, and I'm German and Dutch. My mother's side was German and Dutch and Sicilian. My father was all Sicilian. I ended up marrying a woman. My first wife was Greek. So believe it or not, I speak Greek better than I speak Italian.
Okay.
And the Greek, I learned it with the kids growing up. And the Greeks got something they call ziapsora. Means the jealousy.
Yeah.
People, if they see you succeed, they always look for a reason to break you down, because a very, very well-known person who has a multi-billion-dollar furniture business. I knew, we lived in Arlington Heights, and my in-laws lived next door to him. And I met him, and I did some work for him, and I was a younger man. He told me something that I've never forgotten my whole life. He goes, Chuck, the guy that goes out and works 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week has what everybody else has. The guy that puts in that overtime and that 6th day a week or that 7th day a week, he said, he's the guy that has his dreams, and he goes out and makes them happen for himself because he doesn't expect anybody to give it to him.
Sure.
I've never forgotten that. You get what you put into life, and sometimes you get back what you don't want because you've got people out there to get jealous, like Carl said.
It's crazy. Ocean's Pit, the little show about big things, folks. My good friends Carl Maselli and Carlo Giancana on the show today. Let's get right to this book that might be hopefully coming out by the end of 2022 and maybe be turned into a series. Of course, the book is called Dead Witnesses Don't Testify. Chuck, how did you come up and decided that you wanted to write a book, TV? How did this all happen?
Actually, by accident, Tony. It's no secret that I've got a little bit of a past. I donated some time to the government, almost 20 years of my life, because I made some bad choices when I was younger. And they turn around, and I went through a lot of trials and tribulations, growing up in Elmwood Park and north side of the city. I knew a lot of the right people, knew a lot of the wrong people. I made some really good friends and some really good choices, but I also made some bad ones. And I'm man enough to sit
like, you know what? Like we've all done. Like
Yeah.
we all done. I hate those people that point that little finger. Look in their closets.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Look in their closets.
And while I was going through my stuff, I've always had, I feel like sometimes like I got two or three parts of me. I got the part that'll always have law enforcement in me. I got the part that comes from the old days with the OC guys growing up at their knees like Carl and I both did. Carl and his family, but, me being around everybody. And then I've got myself. And when I went away in 96 and 97, I ran across a situation where I had to make a decision. There's guys out there that go rat out for money, or they go tell a story, or they go tell on somebody to get out of their sentence. I've never done that in my life. I've never gotten a day off anything I've done. I've never gotten any special treatment, and I've got evidence to back it up. But I had one instance, which is there's going to be several books about me from what the production company has said.
Yes. Yes.
And what we've agreed to, and one of them is going to be called Dead Witnesses Don't Testify, because I ran across a man that took a woman out of a bar, killed her, left her laying in the street because she was Caucasian, over a rock of cocaine for sex. And this fool, knowing I was a former policeman, came to me and asked me for information on how to cover up the evidence. And I said, hey, what did they charge you with? And long story short, they had not charged him with, and the murder was unsolved. And I had to make a conscious decision of, would I be being a rat? Was I still have a cop in my heart? And did I have any honor and integrity in me whatsoever at all? And I came to the conclusion that if you're dumb enough to tell somebody you killed somebody and that a white woman didn't count, and you just left her laying in a street in Rock Island, then you deserve to go to prison the rest of your life. And I cooperated with the investigation. We solved the case, and he's doing 2 life sentences. And I'm going to dedicate the book to her kids. She left 2 small children behind. And when I had questioned him and I asked him, I said, why would you do this over something so trivial? He said, because dead witnesses don't testify.
Well, that's just, if you think about it, what's funny, Chuck, this is just in one story out
Yes.
of the many, many stories. And you hear stories like this all the time. It's going to be good that you're doing this. I'm excited about that. Carl, man, growing up in your family, the Giancana family, it had to be difficult in school wise, right? Did they ever, because of what maybe your grandfather was part of or whatever it was, did they ever give you any slack for that? You were just a kid growing up, just trying
I was growing up in a family, and a lot of the old timers knew who my family was. None of the kids or relatives I went to school with knew who we were, but their parents knew who we were.
Yeah. And you know what? Always respected the family. I met Annette many years ago. I was singing in some bar, and she said, "Hey, kid," and she hooked me up with somebody else and gave me some work when I first started. Always been a great family. I've known
Thank you,
Carl, for years. I've known Scott. I met Zach a few times. I think he was much older than me, I think. But growing up had to be difficult, and to certain things. But let me ask you something. What kind of grandfather was
my grandfather was a real nice guy. He helped all of us out. Plus, he helped all their families out. People don't understand what he did for other people. Whatever he did for business, that's his responsibility. But he helped a lot of people out. I'll give you an example. There's a church in Forest Park. They had problems. They have fundraisers about getting a altar done or marble done into the church, and he paid for that. He says, I'll take care of it. And he took care of all the family members and people who was around him, he took care of.
Carl, it's funny because you're absolutely right. Me and Chuck were talking about this before. We're talking about the John Gotti family in New York, where he lived. There was the church and everything, and they paid for everything. And then when he passed away, they wouldn't even let the family have the procession. The church at their own church in their own neighborhood turned
That's
them
what
down.
happens. That's
But
what
when they were,
happens.
yeah, but Carl, when they were living, they took their money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's free money. If we're going to take it, we're going to drain them dry. And when you need something, they're not there to help you.
You know, and Tony, like you and I talked earlier, you know, as you know, my mother just passed away recently from COPD, and
And I'm so sorry about that, sir.
she caught the COVID and it took her. And my great aunts went to a church in River Forest. I won't mention the name, but everybody that's from Chicago will know which one I'm talking about. And my great aunts back in the 30s and 40s used to iron all the altar garments and, you know, the cloths and all that. We're talking going back 80, 90 years, my family being members of this church. And when I called them up when mom went away and I said, hey, I need you to do, you know, I've got a friend that knows some people there today. And I said, you know, my family's been members of this church, married, baptized, buried out of it. Oh, well, your mother hasn't been a member for a number of years, so we can't do it. This is what we were talking about all the respect, the integrity, the honor, the dignity is gone today. And it's so disgustingly sad, Tony.
And you know what's even sadder, guys? The same church, and I'm not saying that church in general, but the same Catholic church, whatever it is, that will not have your, like, but it's okay to take that molesting priest and take him from one parish and move him to another parish.
Yeah.
To hide them out.
Don't say shit, right? And right.
But you know, Tony, I want to say something. The 2 days on Christmas Eve, and I want to share this with your listeners because I'm sure there's a lot of Italians and a lot of Catholics, a lot of Polish and stuff like that listen to your show.
Yes.
I'm 55 years old. I stepped really away from the Catholic Church for the reasons we just talked about.
Me too.
But when I was at my emotional low, there was a father named Father Scourin, and I'll say his name. The hospital called up and the chaplain called up for me. We couldn't find a chaplain nowhere to come give my mom last rites because she had COVID. They got a hold of this Father Scourin out of Elmhurst. Tony, this man, an hour and a half before midnight mass, left his rectory, left his church, said, damn COVID, walked through the door, blessed my mother, gave her rights, and said, she's part of my flock. He said, the masses and all that are important, but this is where a priest is needed. This is your mother doesn't get a second chance at this, and this is where I need to be. I've called everywhere from the Archdiocese of Joliet to the Vatican to make sure that this priest is recognized because he is the first real priest I've seen since I was a kid.
Yeah, and it was always sometimes in the family there was either one teacher or one priest, somebody that was always cool enough to say, "Hey, you know, it's funny." Even there's a rock in the rock and roll story. Obviously, you heard the band Leonard Skinner. You heard of them,
Yep.
right? But there was the gym teacher that was always looking out for him, and all the other teachers said, "You guys ain't going to go anywhere." You know, and they named the band after the gym teacher. I mean, they spelled it wrong, but I mean, I'm just talking about there's always somebody, hopefully, if you're lucky enough to have somebody in your family, even an incredible story about friendship and loyalty. And I'm going to mention this, hope you don't mind, Chuck,
No.
when your mother was in the hospital dying and you're by himself here wondering what to do, the man right next to you there said, hell with you, and came with you and helped you and didn't care about the COVID and made sure they watched your back. And you know what? When you see people like that, the loyalty that you got, it's better than being a millionaire. It's better than anything else. If you can,
You're right.
if you got somebody that can rely on you as your friend, and you are a very rich man.
If you've only got one in this life, and I've got a couple, but like you were right, you know, my mom bonded with Carl. We hadn't seen each other in many years. And my mom used to look out her window and, hey, when's Carl coming to see me? And the day before she got really, really sick where they ended up putting her basically in the hospice coma. She asked me two things. She goes, is Carl coming to see me and am I dying? and I picked up the phone and I said, "Hey, bro," I said, "You know, Carl, she wants to see you." I can't tell you how far he came away from. They were, all the COVID protocols and weren't going to let him in. He said, "They ain't going to stop me."
Yeah.
And he walked in that room, kissed her on her head, said goodbye to her, and he did not leave my side until the day we put her in the ground at St. Joseph's. You can't buy friendship or loyalty like that.
The loyalty and friendship, like I said, are very rich and very rich to have something like that, because money comes and goes, but the loyalty is something that it's just incredible. Ocean's Pit, the little show about big things. Chuck Maselli and Carlo Giancana. Chuck, you also got our guest going to be a Friday. Joseph, of course, she's got this new, just came out on Reel's channel, the Chicago Mob Deadly Associates. I taped it. I haven't watched it yet. What did you think about it?
Deadly Associates was great. Joey and I met because I have a connection to the Family Secrets trial. I had a very strong connection to, actually, he is Joe's godfather, baptismal, and I wouldn't say that Joe Lombardo was my godfather, but I've known him since I was 5 years old. And there was some things.
Another great man in the neighborhood.
Beyond
very
great.
Respectful, absolutely.
And he helped a lot of people out, Joe.
Yeah, I know it. He did. Very good man.
And
it's funny because everybody looks at the bad. They never look at all the good. It's always one thing. You guys can be the best, and when you remember when he did that. Oh, I can't stand people like that.
Joe, just like with Carl's grandfather, I'll say it because I'm not too concerned about backlash. If those people were still involved in what's going on in our city, the killings wouldn't be going on we got today, Tony.
That was just one of the questions we're going to ask. 2020, the riots going on in the city, Carl. Imagine if your grandfather and those gentlemen back then, that would never, ever, ever happen. Not only in Chicago.
Anywhere.
New York, any of those cities.
It will never happen. All the stuff, the bum rap about the families, they took care of everybody.
Yep.
And made sure everybody was taken care of. There was no riots, no burnings, no looting, no going in a gas station. I need an ATM machine. Now it's a free for all, and I blame it on the governor of Illinois. And
I blame it on the regime, the new regime. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And I blame it on the police department. They got their hands tied because of Lightfoot.
They can't do anything.
They can't do nothing or they'll get sued.
Absolutely. Nope. They got the cameras on there. Okay, they got to watch every move. Now look I don't know, man. I mean, someone's coming at you with a gun. How are you going to get this person down?
Tony,
I'm sorry.
Tony, I was a police officer. I know both sides of it. I've been on both sides of the handcuffs. And let me tell you something. I have the utmost respect for 95% of the police out there. And I'll be the first one to say, yeah, there's guys that get that badge. It goes to their head and they're bad. 95% of the men and women, I don't care what color, what race, what creed, what religion they are, go out there every day and put their life on the line. The firemen, the police officers, the doctors, the nurses, but especially the police today, because they can't do the job the way it needs to be done to protect the city, because they've got to worry about who's going to sue them, who's going to fire them, who's going to indict them. Because let me tell you something, when a man pulls a gun and tells you he's going to kill you, there's one of two things you do. You either take a bullet or you put him down. And that's just the way it is. I've been there, I've done it, and I'll be the first one to say the stuff that happened up in Kenosha, when an officer's wrong, he's wrong. When he's right. There's some of it. And I tell friends of mine that are black and friends of mine that are Hispanic and friends of mine that are white the same thing every day. Yeah. I don't understand the wrong end of it, because if a guy's got a knife, he tells me a car, he's going to get a gun. He ain't making it there. And if he gets there with the gun and he pulls it on me, I don't need to shoot him 17 times. He's taking one to the head, one to the chest, and it's over with. He's in handcuffs. It's over with. Those kind of cops, it is what it is for them, because that's not necessary and that's not right. But a cop like that young lady that got killed not too long ago in the city, my heart bleeds for her and her family.
You know what? I also, Carl, Chuck and Carl, you're both right on the stories that you're saying. It seems like when the guys get into the police department, they have this. I think they think to themselves, "I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do good. I'm
We
going to
all
do great."
did.
But I think when they get into the system, they realize, look, they can do a big drug bust or capture somebody, and a year, 24 hours later, they're back out on the street again.
You know,
Yeah, it's like give you an example. All these carjackings of today, the kids are carjacking these people. They're getting caught, and Kim Fox is letting them go.
Yeah. How about
Years
Carl,
ago,
you're
it would never
absolutely right.
happen
The
like that.
riots they arrested some of those people. They let them go.
Yes, they did. And it's still happening. Years ago, that would never happen.
Let me ask you guys something. What do you think, Carl? What do you think this whole infatuation with the mafia, the outfit? What do you think? Why people are so attracted to it?
I really don't know. I think it's the hype. It's, if I did the Mob Museum in Las Vegas, people came, they had respect. It was a good thing going.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I seen a picture. Did you like it? Did you like the way they portrayed everything? Was everything right? Did they have anything wrong?
Everything
What
was
your
right
opinion?
in the museum. It wasn't like we were telling secrets.
Yeah,
It's about the artifacts they donated to the museum, and they wanted to see how people lived.
sure. Where do they get some of this stuff, Carl? Do you know where do they get like certain items, whether from families, like if there was like whatever, maybe weapon or a coat or a jacket or whatever. Where does it all come from?
All of that came from the family members.
I got it. Okay.
And a lot of the family members decided at one time, okay, this is a good cash out. And the museum decides to give them an offer for all their artifacts. I never sold any of my artifacts. I kept them all.
Carl, let me ask you something. Of course, and I was talking to Chuck too. One great book right here. I got this book when it first came out. Like I said, Annette was always a great lady, very respectful for me. Did you like the movie that Susan Lucci played, Mafia Princess? Did you get a chance?
I really didn't get into that stuff. That's like prying into the family a little more than it should be. She did it. It's okay for her to do it, but I was against it.
I got it. So what did you think of the movie Sugar Time?
Sugar Time was like a B-rated movie. It's like filming in a garage.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was a little like cartoonish. You're absolutely
Yes, it was.
Right. It was definitely cartoonish.
And my grandfather wasn't like that, Joe.
Yeah. You know what? It's just weird how television tells different stories. Next, we're going to throw down some movies to you, and I just want your opinion, both of you. Let's start with the first one. Chuck, what did you think of The Godfather?
I thought it was a very good portrayal of New York back in the day. I don't think anybody could have ever done it better than Pacino and Brando in any of the Godfathers, 1, 2, or 3. I'm looking forward to the 50th anniversary remake that's coming up. I think that's also, to answer your question to Carl, where a lot of this stir is coming from. The 50th anniversary is coming up. The kids of today don't really even, I ask kids today, do you know what this was? And they look at me like, what? What are you talking about? Who? And I think it's coming back just like clothes. It cycles in and out.
Yeah, Carl, and I know you're here. Thank you for being on the show, by the way, again. Podcasts and documentaries that you've been seeing. I don't know if you watch them, you hear them, whatever it is. And it's always about, you go through your television 24 hours a day, and you can find documentaries on everybody, especially when it comes to the mafia outfit. What do you think about when some people, when they're on there, some of the stories they got, the facts aren't right? Are they right? Where do they get the facts from? How does this stuff all come about, Carl, in your opinion?
The thing is, I've been looking for the last 3 or 4 months on like Facebook, and all these people are coming out of the woodwork and saying, "Oh, I knew your grandfather," and they really didn't, and they're just saying it just to say it and make up stuff.
And this is happening a long time, not just recently, but I mean, you can remember all these A&E and all these other people coming out with these documentaries on stories. And sometimes you see the person's voice and he's in a dark room and his face is blocked off and he's talking like, it was like, I was in this, I was in the group and I knew this. And you ever notice that when you see that? It's like, obviously they're getting paid for this, obviously, correct?
Tony, there was a lot of people who's doing that. One was a guy named Chuck Giancana. He started everything through the family. He was writing all these books, and half the stuff he's putting in these books are lies. Yeah. And he was doing it for years. He's profiting off of the Giancana name, and that's wrong.
Fake stories to get attention. Becky Lee, you're absolutely right. One of our listeners, Becky, you're absolutely right. It is just sad because it makes you wonder. Obviously, they're doing it for gain of money if they're on television or they get a book. But speaking of, let's go here. What did you think of Casino, Carl? Since it was based on the Chicago outfit.
No, the Casino was right on the money. They couldn't get anything better than that. The Spilaccio brothers decided to rip off the family, and they got what was coming to them.
It's kind of funny with the greed, and that's exactly what hurts a lot of businesses. Whether it's the outfit or any business, you ever know it's the greed. You talk to people in the restaurant business. They say, some of your bartenders, they steal or whatever it is. Yeah, it's okay, but when they get greedy, that seems to be the part that is just wrong.
Yeah, with the Casino, the two one is Anthony. He got greedy. He decided he was above the law, and he decided to rip off the family severely of a lot of money, and they caught him. And it was out of control.
Yeah, what did you guys think of the new movie that came out a few years ago, Irishman? Now, someone says that the story that guy said the paint never really happened.
I don't know that much about it, Tony. I saw the movie and I thought it was well put together and done.
Yes.
But you know what I find is funny is when I was gone and I was doing my time, I had the pleasure of being in the same facility as John Connolly.
Okay.
From the FBI.
Sure.
He did his federal time and then he went down to Florida to do state time. And I knew Mr. Connolly. We had coffee and stuff every day. And when you hear the stories, this is what Carl's got to excuse himself for a minute.
Sure.
When you hear the stories on these podcasts and, in the movies and all this other type of stuff, it's funny that when you've really grown up around the people like, you and your singing career and, the famous restaurants you sang in and me growing up at their knees as a kid and Carl growing up in the family, it's offensive when you hear people go public, national, local, and they start saying things, and that's why Carl and I talked about even doing some of these podcasts, because confronting someone with the truth, and you hit it right on the head, Tony. He's got the face mask on, he's got the sunglasses on, and he's talking about he knows everything in the world. He don't know who gots. You know what he knows? He knows he's got his picture on a TV, he's asking for some money, and he thinks he's going to take it somewhere with himself because he's going to go out there and get some notoriety while he's all disguised up. Put your face out there, put your name out there if you're going to say something and tell the truth. It's like an instance, and we talked about this before the show, and I'm going to bring it up now. Certain individual recently, I won't mention his name, did something that hurt Carl's family deeply. I got my hands on some stuff. I know the truth about how Momo passed away and, what was done to him and all this other hyperbole. And it's a crock of horse shit because let me tell you something, and I'll say it, and damn the consequences, Tony. There is no way a boss like Mr. Ricardo would go and do something that to his friend. Would he have been involved in giving the order and the okay? Absolutely. Nobody in their right mind could have gotten close to him, but a very few people. But Mr. Ricardo, at the age that he was at and the stature that he had, was not going to walk into Sam's home and take a gun out and kill him with a silencer. It wasn't going to happen like that. And to say it, the prophet, and hurt Carl's aunt's feelings. You know, these people don't think about that. Oh, he was Sam Giancana, the gangster. He was Sam Giancana that did this, that did that. You know what? He was Sam Giancana, the father, the grandfather, now the great-grandfather, the uncle, the nephew, and people like this guy that's doing this right now. And I'm going to let Carl, because I know he's got some stuff to vent about with this. But what bothers me, with my legal background and my legal training, Tony, and I won't get into a long road down this either.
Sure.
When you cooperate with the government, you sign something called a federal proffer agreement. Okay.
What does that mean? To people that
A
might
federal
not know.
proffer agreement is issued by a United States attorney 9 times out of 10 that says basically you give up your soul to these people. And it's called Queen for a day. It's more than a day usually. But you come in, you can tell them anything you want to tell them, and it's kind of like having a free pass to say whatever you want to say.
You can say whatever you want that you did or you did, blah, 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 and they just wipe it off for that one day, whatever it is.
That one day you talk about it, they structure the agreement. But let me tell you something, from the day you sign your name on that paper, and I know this one particular individual had to do it, no doubt about it, especially what he did, okay? If he would have known who really killed Mr. Giancana, the government is legally responsible to notify the family, hey, we have this information, we've corroborated it, we've closed the case. Momo's case is not closed. It was not included in the family secrets trial in any way, shape, or form. And this person that's saying this is full of shit, because if he's not, then the government's liable for not notifying the family, which I highly doubt they would make a mistake like that. And if he is saying that he knows something about it now, then he's violated his proffer agreement. And I'm sure he's going to be getting a knock on his door pretty soon telling him to shut up.
That makes sense. A lot of stuff that you're saying. Carl, how old were you when your grandfather passed away?
I was in the teens. He died in 1975.
What was it like?
I was probably 10 years old, 12 years old.
And it's a dumb question to ask because, you know, you go up to some people and go, well, you know, how is it like? I mean, it's a dumb question. It's like, it doesn't make a difference if you lost a father, brother, sister, mother. How do you say how it's like? Did life change a lot for you after that happened, Carl?
It was a shock to the family.
Sure.
And we miss them and we love them. But people came out of the woodwork and wanted to say a bunch of stuff, bunch of lies through the years.
And this goes to another great question, Carl. To shut people up, ever think of doing something yourself, putting a book or going on a major TV show, and you know, and saying, "Hey, you want to know? This is blood. This is the blood. It's not the eighth cousin. It's not the step cousin or the step brother. This is blood." I'm sure people had to come up to you and ever ask you through the years, and maybe they haven't. I'm not sure, but has anybody ever thought? Maybe after all these years now, you maybe ever thinking about doing something like that?
I was thinking about doing stuff like that, but I was when Double Cross came out, when Chucky Giancana wrote that book with his dad, and I knew it was all full of shit, and I decided, okay, I was on Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah.
And they were saying, what do you think about Chuck Giancana? Half the stuff came out of his mouth was a lie.
Yeah. So wouldn't it be here's a guy just talking. If you put out something on your own to kind of break the facts or get rid of the liars and get rid of the people, this is like, you know, getting the book from the actual blood and family.
I was going to do that. I will be doing, you know, small podcasts here and there.
Sure.
But I'm tired of people coming up to me, or I see it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I knew who killed your grandfather and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Whoever's saying it is full of shit. No one knows who killed my grandfather. And it hurts the family's feelings. It hurts my Aunt Bonnie's feelings. It hurts Francine. It might even hurt my mother.
How's the family doing now?
They're doing well.
Please give my best to Annette
I will.
and your family. Interesting book. I'm interesting so much, Chuck, to come out with this. Hopefully it'll come out by the end of 2022. A series of 3 books, which is very cool. Dead Witnesses Don't Testify. You also talked possibly of a series. Would this be the series based on the stories of the 3 books?
No, I think the series is going to be based on my life, Tony, and pretty much maybe a culmination. Octane Rich Media is doing it. My producers are actually Joey Seifert and Jim Forney. They're great people. We're in the fledgling stages. This was something I wasn't expecting when Joe and I met and talked about things relative to family secrets related to his dad's death. And Joe is actually getting ready to do something that is going to be incredibly surprising to a lot of people. Joe, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. I'm going to leave that for your show on Friday with him.
Yeah.
But there's something that's going to be coming very, very soon that I think will surprise the world a lot, coming especially from Joey Seifert. And I think it's going to be a pretty amazing project. And let me tell you something. What Joey and his family, I've gotten to know Nick pretty well, and I've gotten to know Joey very well. We were all kids at the time when all this stuff happened, but all of us walked away from that day changed. It's not a secret that there's information that's going to come out very soon that is going to change the whole face of even the documentary that was done the other night. There was things of it because Joe and I hadn't talked when the documentary was done that are going to be changing now.
So there's new stuff going to be added. I got it. Okay.
And
yeah,
the TV series is going to be, once it's created and crafted and of course picked up, it's going to be incredible. And I want to take this opportunity to give a shout out to somebody at Chicago PD, the show Chicago PD.
Yes.
That is the best show I've ever seen that portrays what it's really like to be inside the Chicago Police Department. I mean, Hank Voight and, back when Arleski was on the show, that character are the epitome of how it's really done.
Yeah, I liked Voight. I don't watch the show too often. Some of that stuff I think is great. It just sometimes when they have the young girl at 60 pounds going in there and taking a whole gang out by herself, some of that stuff is a little much more. But Voight was great, and I like it because it's good for the city of Chicago.
It is.
We're excited, man, for the book. I wish you a lot of success on that and the TV series. Carl, did you ever meet Francis Albert Sinatra?
Pardon?
Did you ever meet Frank Sinatra?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you ever meet Dean Martin?
He was at the house when we were kids.
Okay. So as an Italian and as your family, who do they like better? Who do they like better, Frank or Dean? Because everybody, when you ask an Italian,
the thing is with Frank and Dean, they're 2 separate people. Frank was close to my grandfather, and Dean really did not like it.
I got it.
For some reason, but we all got along. They all got along in the family and friends.
Your grandfather, is it true that they used to own part of the Kelniva Resort?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Which I don't know I don't even know if it's still there, Carl, but I knew about 10, 15 years ago, they opened the tunnel on the bottom. Before, you couldn't see the tunnel. You just went to the resort whenever it changed. Then they opened the tunnel, and supposedly the tunnel is where either Kennedy would come and people would come and go underneath, so nobody know they were they opened it up like they opened up a certain room in Graceland. You know what I mean?
It's like opening the safe on the safe of Al Capone.
Yeah.
I had no clue about the tunnel.
Tunnel, yeah. They opened it up and you paid and went to walk through it. And so interesting stuff. But Frank and Dean were definitely different. And
I liked them both. They were good people.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Guys, I thank you for your time. I know it takes to come out and talk about family, personal stuff like you guys did. And it's got to be difficult, man, to some point. But it's also very, 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 very important to make sure that when you mention a name, whether it's Giancana, whether it's Maselli, whether it's Logan, whether it's Lewinsky, whatever else it is. If there's something that's not right said, you have to stop that. You have to come out, because you know what? We have the respect of the family and the heritage and the reputation that needs to, and some of this stuff has to be stopped and
Like
corrected.
Tony, like I give you an example. I started doing this for the last 5 months on Facebook. When people are putting stuff out there about my family, I try to put a stop to it before it gets out of hand.
Do you see a Facebook page, a guy named Mike Byrne that comes out? He runs whatchamacallit. He comes up different stories. I think he posts stuff from newspapers, so it's not like he's posting
It's all
stuff.
bullshit. Anybody can go on Google and grab a newspaper article and he throws it up there, and have other people comment on it.
Comment on it.
Yeah.
Right. When they weren't there and they don't have any idea and we don't know, and some of that stuff is really none of our fucking business, to be honest with you. When it comes to your family, it is what it is, and you're there to protect your family and the family name. Like I said, whether it's Italian, Hispanic, Jewish, anybody. Here's another thing that before I let you guys go. People used to go to the family, as we'd call it, and sometimes they'd borrow money and stuff like that. Always, it's like when you go to a bank, you have to have some sort of collateral. If you won't give this, we are going to come and take your home. And it's like they would say, hey, and I knew from personal examples of people that I knew through the years, they would say, hey, don't you have an uncle? They would tell some of my friends or associates, don't you have an uncle or somebody that would lend you this? Don't come to me because I need my money.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, they can't get the loans from the banks or credit agencies. They go to their family and say, hey, listen, I need $5,000. And they give it to them freely.
Right.
And it's the same thing as a bank, but when they don't pay it back, then you got a problem.
And the funny thing is it's in the fine print. There's not a piece of paper. It's a shake hands when you look into somebody's hand. It's like going up to your buddy and go, hey buddy, I need $5,000 to help me out. And then you avoid the guy for a fucking year.
You're chasing your money.
And then you wonder why he's upset, Tony. It's like we talked about, honor, dignity, respect, and integrity. It's gone. Nowadays, these people don't understand, and they have, other people have trouble comprehending. If you went to the family didn't go ringing doorbells all the time looking for clientele.
Bingo.
They didn't go out making soliciting phone calls. Hey, I want to put a roof on your house, or hey, do you need $5,000 today at 20% interest? If you went to them, you knew who you were going to. You knew what the conditions were. And when you sign on board, if you don't have the honor, integrity, and the credibility, and basically, I'm going to say it, the balls to do the right thing. It wasn't like, okay, well, you missed a payment, I'm going to kill you, like people like to make it out to be.
Yeah.
Like you just said, a phone call. Hey, Uncle Joe, Uncle Frank, Uncle Tony, whatever. I know I got a payment this week, but my kid's sick. I got laid off. I just want to let you know I haven't forgot about you. I'm going to get caught up. That went further with the guys forever than some douche that took the money, disappeared, and then he wonders why he ends up in a cornfield. Come on. Common sense.
I know. Exactly. I know what you're saying. It's just like anything else. One last question for you guys both. And it's an organization that people talk to, like we talk about the family and everything like that. What do you think is the real reason why it kind of disappeared or doesn't have the high power that it did? Why do you think that happened? Besides RICO and everything like that, why do you think?
I got one word: drugs.
Yeah. And you see it from The Godfather in every movie, always, or in the stories. Don't get involved in that. Don't get involved in that.
And they do it all, Tony, and they do it all the time. It's happening everywhere. The Gotti family had problems with drugs. Everybody had problems. Paul Castellano said no drugs in the family, and they brought the drugs in anyways.
But do you know why?
Yeah, go ahead, Chuck.
Tony, you know why Chicago lasted the longest?
Why is that?
Because people like his grandfather and the people in the 42s had a rule. You deal, you use, you die. You're undependable. Yeah. And when that rule ended, that's when havoc got created.
And when you get people like we're saying, Mr. Lombardo and Mr. Accardo, I mean, you just don't find. It's almost like what's his name from New York, the Jewish guy. I'm sorry, I forget his name.
You talking about Lepke?
Meyer Lansky.
Meyer Lansky. I mean, there's a genius right there.
Yep.
If you think about him trying to do the, I mean,
Same thing with Arnold
brains of these
Rothstein.
guys. Pardon me?
Same thing with Arnold Rothstein. The same thing with Don Carlo Gambino. When Don Carlo was alive, do you think any of the stuff that went on would have went on? Come on.
No.
Away.
And it's just crazy. And all we can hope for, like I said, when you guys put your stuff out and tell the truth, and what's the point in lying when people have to come out? I don't understand all that. But I'm hopefully that you're successful with your book.
Thank you.
Your TV series, and Carl, with your podcast, so you can get the message out there to let people know that, hey, this is what's going on. And hopefully one day we'd love to see something from Carl, the story, and tell people what it's really about. And
It's going to be his new restaurant he's going to open next year.
Yes. I'm planning on opening a restaurant in Arizona. It's called Little Sammy G's.
Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that?
And I will be opening it up in Arizona.
You know what? And I'd love, that'd be fantastic, man. Have a little entertainment, come down and do some songs. That would be awesome. And you know what? Thank you for your time, guys. I know you're busy, and I know you got to do what you got to do, but thank you for coming on, and thank you for being two legit stand-up guys, and keep trying to spread the word for the positive instead of the negative, because no matter what job, no matter what family, no matter what nationality, there was always good and bad.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just that we got
tied into it.
Because the Italians are better at it. I don't know, right?
We are the
I don't
best.
know.
We make the best everything.
We're the best looking and we're charismatic. I mean, what more can you ask for?
You can't. You got that right. Thank you, Ocean Spit, the little show about big things. Chuck Maselli, ladies and gentlemen, and Carlo Giancana. Don't forget, Chuck's got a brand new movie coming out, hopefully soon. TV series the book in a 3-part session. Of course, please make sure. Hopefully, this comes out by the end of 2022. That's right, man. Dead witnesses don't testify. Hopefully that, and maybe into a series. And if you got it, I wish you the best of luck, everybody. God bless you and your family. Stay safe out there.
God bless, Tony.
God bless.
Thanks, you guys, very much. Ocean Spit, the little show about big things. We are out of time, everybody. But before we go, let's think about a couple of the last 3 sponsors, folks. We got to take care of that, folks. Talking about Italians, you got to talk about good food. Portillo's. That's right, folks. Get your Portillo's. Not only that for fundraisers, folks, nonprofit organizations. If you're interested, Portillo's can do this for you. You can call Portillo's. You call our son Joe at 224-636-3646 or jfink@portillos.com. Have a fundraiser at a Portillo's. Anything they make over $200, your organization gets 20%. Also, they're hiring at all the Portillo stores. And let's not forget Laura Ocean Solutions, folks. Number one, increase profits while reducing credit card fees. She's the owner. She knows how to do it well. She'll take care of it. Go to lauraoceansolutions.com. And don't forget Patriot Funding Incorporated, folks. Money lending at its finest. That's right. That's Patriot Funding Incorporated, commercial lending, personal term loan, personal cash line of credit, business card credit, personal cards. Dave Antonelli at 630-675-4730. And don't forget Airtight Windows. Doing it right. Specialty family for 30 years. Honesty, quality, do it right with Airtight. 708-788-5000, folks. Check the website, TonyOceanMusic.com. Give it the book a show, 847-769-8609. Tomorrow. Yeah, today's Tuesday. Thursday. We'll be at Zaza's in Lake Barrington. Friday, Chicago Prime Steakhouse, and Saturday, Tavern on the Point, new hotspot in Edison Park. And the great words of Ringo Starr, peace and love. Be safe out there. Remember, support local establishments and live entertainment. Most of all, if you got friends out there that are down right now, depression, alcoholism, there's a lot of stuff, pick up the phone, call them, text them. How you doing? Just thinking about you. Because life is too short, man. Live life as you can. Have a great day, everybody. Tomorrow, of course, Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. I have my lovely wife, Laura Ocean, on with us as my co-host, of course. And we're going to have a great week. God bless you, everybody. Nick Sahajas, the piano man, take us out. Have a great day. Be careful with the snow, guys. God bless.
Time to go, it's the end of the show. See you later from Tony O.
Have a great day, folks. God bless.